wet patches, the downforce is pushing the car so much down that even on semi-slicks, you just need to trust it. It's so f***ing insane. Good morning, comrades! Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back not to the Nürburgring but to Spa-Francorchamps, and probably one of the most exciting videos of the year, because we have here the 992 GT3 RS. Extremely important car for the channel. I haven't ordered one, but we all know it. Nürburgring lap time 6 minutes 49. Later on we'll definitely have at some point one type performance kit attached to it. We'll have lots of passenger laps on the Nordschleife, hopefully driving ourselves as well. And today I'll be sharing my experiences with you, because I'm here with Porsche Track Experiences, to be more precise with Master GT3 RS. It's a 3-day course where we get absolutely nerded out about the facts of the car, drive it ourselves. We also had a taxi lap. It's really mind-blowing. So anyway, let's get started. First of all, the numbers, I'm sure a lot of people are aware of them. 525 horsepower, 6 minutes 49 on the Nordschleife as mentioned. But the most important aspect of this car, aerodynamics. It's absolutely mind-blowing. I'll get to that later in the video after the drive. But so first of all, you already see this prominent radiator setup, so you cannot buy this car to have like a luggage space. Unfortunately, it's gone and done. But because they implemented this type of setup, and this radiator here is actually not bigger than a Volkswagen Golf, they told me, but it's a lot more high performing because of the airstream that you have coming through here. And with the previous gen 991.2, you had two radiators on each side, but it's significantly more efficient. The air is being guided on top, and thanks to these deflectors, the hot air goes away from the engine intake, so you still have cold air traveling over the roof. And it's something that we tested earlier today while doing slow laps, hand out of the window, and you can feel actually here is hot and above is cold. Mind-blowing. Now on the front setup, the tires have grown 275 on the front. The calipers are familiar from the GT3, so they're lowered for better lower central point of gravity, and a bit of cooling as well. Speaking of cooling, there's lots of air coming through the front. Actually, Jörg Bergmeister, who drove the lap time and also who helped to develop the car, he said it would take you more time to warm up the tires on the front because there's so much air coming through it. So it's better for the cooling, but if you're gonna go out on the first cold lap, you need to be cautious with it. There are so many differences, like for example, the wishbone setup from the front is now tear-shaped, so it adds 40 kilograms of downforce more over the conventional 992 GT3. Mind-blowing features. And then of course, all of this, all of that, and then we come to the biggest part, which was blowing everyone away when we saw this car first time on industry pool on the Nordschleife 2 years ago, and you could see that the wing was moving. Yes, active aerodynamics, and it's not only on the rear, it's also on the front. Let me walk you through the features inside the car that you already have seen, of course, from the introduction of the car when it was introduced for the first time. As you can see, we have the steering wheel with 4 buttons. Usually on the Porsche, on the recent Porsches, you only have one for the drive select, but now when we turn it on, we have, first of all, the drive mode select. So when you change it, just go quickly away. You can go from normal to sport, and then finally, of course, also to track. Once you're in track, you can, well, the TC is fully switched off because Jörg Bergmeister was just driving the car, but once you press on the button, you tap on it, you can go to dynamic mode or fully on. So when you go to dynamic mode, you can still play with traction control. So like this on, it still allows you some room to play, I would say. And this goes towards more of a wet mode on the conventional 992, so you have more traction. And this goes significantly less. One, it's almost off, and well, when you go to TC off, that's actually, you can go to completely off. Then we have Porsche Active Suspension Management. And for the first time, you can adjust your suspension from inside the car. So you can adjust the compression and in the front and in the rear independently, and also rebounds with these dials independently from the front and the rear. So, and finally, you have the differential settings. PTV, Porsche Torque Vectoring Plus. You can change the coasting specifications or the power spec. So for example, when you go on power, that it locks up more and you go kind of in the drift modes. Now before I'm gonna show you my impressions, enjoy the lap. I hope you guys enjoyed my lap. Jörg Bergmeister took me out for a taxi lap, and that was mind-blowing to see what someone who knows the car inside and outside can do. My first impressions from driving, because I didn't talk during driving because I really wanted to soak it in and tell you what my experiences are. It is the best car that I have driven for the track. The best street car. And here comes the limitation. You have so much downforce. And I know a lot of you are going to say like, oh, why didn't you take the Eau Rouge flat? Because also, for example, well, others don't take it flat. Well, you can do it, but if I crash it, I need to pay 20,000 euros. With him, you probably have to do some different kind of event like this and take out more people for taxi laps from Porsche to make it up to it. But a different story. Not gonna try stupid things. But speaking of aerodynamics, it is indeed absolutely crazy what the car can do. You can also brake so much later because you have, when you activate the full downforce mode, once you go on the brake, you have so much more downforce, so much more drag. The car stops so much faster. And the interesting thing, because the car has the so-called anti-dive technology, they reduced the dive. So when you go on the brakes that the car dives, it only dives by 6 millimeters. like this probably. And because of that, in the past, when you would go on the brakes, the car would dive, and especially with Porsche, with the engine on the rear, you would use the weight transfer to actually turn in with trail braking. Right now, you brake, and it's like, well, do I have grip on the front wheels? Probably, because that's something that you're used to from driving in the past. It's really phenomenal. Another thing is that they told me for future owners, when you track your car, before you go to the track, give it an underbody inspection, especially for the flaps underneath, because that produce extra downforce. Because when you have tire pickup, it will really affect the downforce levels. Everything is set up so crazy that it's really absolutely on the limit. Now, speaking of the setup, the most impressive part, and that's also what they told me, is that you have, of course, all these dials that you can play with. And we had also the opportunity and an encouragement actually during 2 of the sessions where they said, okay, now we do the differential completely closed, now completely open, see what the car does. Yes, of course, it will allow you to drift or maybe adjust the car differently. But what Jörg said, after I experienced it for myself, is that everything on 0, pretty much, except for the compression settings for this particular track, everything on 0 is actually perfect. You don't need to play with settings. It's of course good, but to an extent, Porsche has set up like really such an amazing car. It's created, like the way it drives is like, I was considering like putting a order on GT3 992 because it's really after I drove the car, I really fell in love with it and it's like really usable. And I was thinking like, yeah, I don't need a GT3 RS. But the way I'm driving, after driving this, I'm like, yeah, I do need it. But at the same time, we are here in Spa-Francorchamps. I'm driving 99.9% of the time on Nürburgring Nordschleife during public sessions. To be honest, I would never take, like I always say, stay back, don't go crazy. The way we're driving today with all the run-offs and everything, I would never do it on a Nordschleife, and let alone on a public session day. We've seen it earlier this year, there's a coolant spill, you're done. And the difference between crashing a GT3, which is quite expensive, and crashing this, like, you don't want to do this. So if one day, hopefully sooner than later, I'm going to get one, which is definitely going to be a goal now, I said it, it will be track day only car, because it will be like stupid to take the risk, and when you buy it, you want to use it. You want to go full on. So although the car had a benchmark of doing it on Nürburgring Nordschleife, yes, of course, great time. This car I think on Spa, and coming in from me, who is here quite like relatively often in comparison to all the other tracks, I said, yeah, Spa is great, but Nordschleife, I think here it's better. But hopefully Porsche will be able to change my mind by giving me a drive later in June when we're going to have another Porsche Experience day on Nürburgring Nordschleife. And we'll see. But yeah, I'm speechless, I'm blown away. We knew that the car was going to be good, and it's phenomenal. The way the downforce works, therefore you have actually less tire wear because you have less slip, the tire is actually sticking. So running costs in terms of tires, when it comes to consumable, it might be lower, but of course we have all the other components that we'll have to see. The first customer deliveries are coming later this year, or actually already happened. What I want to say is that the first customer cars are already arriving now, from friends of mine, and we'll hopefully experience them on the Nordschleife track day. It will be interesting to hear mostly from their perspective as owner of the previous generations of GT3 RSs and GT2 RSs, what they think as an owner, an actual person that's driving the car, not me just like hopping in, or Jörg Bergmeister is driving the car here forever and forever, but an actual like really more or less unbiased opinion. Yeah, I think that's all I had to say. Like, thanks Porsche for motivating me in life, because I really want one, and we're gonna keep working hard. So Adrian, roll some B-rolls, show how hard we're working. While Adrian is making B-rolls, I forgot to mention a very important thing, and it's actually the trick to activate the high downforce mode while you're driving the car. Since the car was already quite late into development and they couldn't add more buttons to the steering wheel. By tapping the brake slightly, the car goes in full downforce mode and the car goes like a rocket on rails. Does this even work? No, it doesn't make sense. We needed this car through certain corners. One extremely important and mind-blowing thing, what really surprised me and that we actually didn't think of it, we take this sometimes for granted, the car never skipped a beat. And most importantly, the brakes. We kept on going, hard braking, sometimes not even cooling down, coming in the pits, a bit talking, some debriefing, go out again, no fading whatsoever. And you can have a look, it's like not green Mantai racing pads in there, it's not blue endless pads, it's probably even stock fluid. So Porsche, you're probably one of the first manufacturers. I mean, we knew it from the previous cars as well, but GP track, Spa is very hard on brakes. Non-stop braking performance, and you can brake so late as mentioned before, but the fact that you can do it continuously, like, my biggest question is going to be, with the car being this good already, what's Mantai Racing going to do? What is there left to do for them to do something? So stay tuned to find out. Subscribe, like and share. And just as we thought that this was the end of the video, we did our first impressions, test drive and all the verdicts, etc. We're now on the second day and I wanted to make a POV video, which would be like a separate video of its own. And then as I got in the car, the previous session started to rain. And then Mantas came to me, our friend from the Nürburgring, the guy that you may or may not know who's responsible for Ring Freaks. He came and he started yelling completely like, oh my god, I want to buy this car now, this is so freaking amazing. Tell me what you told me before.
Huh?
Tell me what you told me before.
Now I want this car. This is amazing.
Because you're here actually to...
Look, smoke on top.
Yes.
Nice.
Because you're here actually to consider if you actually want to buy one. And yesterday after dry you said like, yeah, but it's actually too fast to enjoy it. You might as well just drive a cup car. And now after the wet you came like screaming and yelling like, yeah, now I want it.
Oh, I mean, car is so balanced, so enjoyable to drive, but also, you know, you get the benefit of aero here. So it's amazing how fast and stable and playful everything is. It's just another level. Like, doesn't feel like a road car anymore. Like it does something that like just pure joy actually.
But that's, yeah, I mean, it also doesn't feel like a road car because of the aero in the dry, but here, but here in the wet, every car comes alive and then you start feeling how well it's set up.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's amazing.
The real balance of the car is during those conditions.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and it,
awesome. I hope it stays wet. I hope it stays wet. It's gonna be.
Me too. Like now, I want to drive just on wet.
Me too. I was thinking like after lunch I'm gonna go home because like I'm done with driving, and I'm like, yeah, now we want to have some more. So as I got in, and then the benefit of changing the suspension settings came alive, because we softened up the compression and the rebound, so you could have a lot more, well, not a lot more, but more body roll, more control. We played with the diff settings and traction control. I left it on because I was a bit pussy too, and I didn't want to like pay 20,000 euros and try something out. But later when I'm gonna go out, I'm probably gonna turn it out. And most importantly, guys, have a look at this. We are on Cup 2 tires. Not Cup 2R, but Cup 2 semi-slicks. They still have like the heat cycles from yesterday, so they're far from being brand new. And as you know, like if it would be Nordschleife, it would be impossible to drive on them, because that would be just like suicidal. But here on GP track, you just need to avoid the wet line. And of course, you will never have as much grip as you would have in the dry, or maybe with PS4Ss. But the way this car performs, the traction control system works amazing. It still allows you some play, but if you go too far, well, it will stop you, or you just like turn the values down, which I will be doing in the next sessions. Hope I will survive. But you will see also on the rear, you can still get a lot of temperature in the tires. My God, this car is like really amazing. I said it already in the like yesterday, or for you in the like previous part of the video, that I really want one now, but whew.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
But change the settings. So numbers, all the way soft.
So track mode,
Track, yes.
then
Go to dampers. All soft.
Yeah.
This as well. Like fucking this.
Yeah.
Good. And then here, like this. Sorry. And here, like this.
Yeah.
And here, traction. Like you can do like this.
DC on?
Yeah, it's on, but
Yeah.
it's like not too intrusive.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Thank you.